Hello everyone. My name is Prince Will Nwokeke, and today I'm going to be working on a project titled Forensic Analysis of Cloud Environment, specifically on Azure Cloud. And I have a subtitle of evidence acquisition using Azure PowerShell. Azure PowerShell specifically is the tool that I'm using for this project, and today is July 24th, 2025. And So basically, when we talk about digital forensics, we can see that it is kind of like evolving into the cloud because of the high demand of cloud technology due to its elasticity being able to scale up, scale down, scale horizontally as well as vertically. So when you talk about the cloud is basically running resources over the internet, whereby a cloud service provider or maybe an individual have a data center running in a certain location, and within that location they can provide computing service over the cloud where you can access resources such as network, such as computer images and all those stuff to carry out your day-to-day necessary application building. Enterprise also run their full business using this cloud technology. And we can see that forensic acquisition in the cloud environment, like Azure, AWS, GCP, is now a highly critical skill for someone that is going into forensics. And that is why today we've decided to focus on using Azure PowerShell for evidence acquisition for this particular project. And when we talk about why cloud forensics, it's cloud forensics is kind of like increasing rapidly in both enterprise and personal sectors, like I explained initially. And the demand for the cloud service is also increasing the risks of these bad guys towards our cloud and cloud resources. And also, sometimes it could not be the bad guys, it could be users, and also it could be, mistakes as well. But there's a need for a forensic analysis. There's a need to step in to monitor, get that log, scrape that data, monitor that data, and visualize that data and see exactly what went on to maybe save lives, and maybe save our society. There's so many reasons why we need computer forensics, and we work hand in hand with legal professional to make sure we are doing everything within the law. So when you talk about cloud and cloud infrastructure, you want to look at cloud in three steps. We have infrastructure as a service, we have infrastructure, we have service, software as a service, and we have platform as a service. So if you're doing forensic analysis, these are like things that you need to understand, so you know the scope at which you can access data, and you know your limitation. And that is where the service level agreement comes in. So you want to look at the SLAs and understand the rules that have been put in place for data management, data encroachment, and data access, so that way we are not doing things that are illegal, or we are not breaching or breaking the law. So when you're talking about cloud, you also want to be careful because of the concept of multi-tenancy. So multi-tenancy is whereby these cloud providers have this data center, but you and I can have our resource in a particular machine. So you want to make sure that when you're carrying out your forensic analysis, when you're trying to scrape this data, you are actually accessing the data, the intended data that you need to access, or you need to monitor or visualize, and you're not encroaching into someone else's data within that particular hardware, except otherwise, or except maybe you have a permission by law to extend to that extent, which is something that you need to work hand in hand with the legal team to make sure that you're doing things within the law. So we also need to understand that with the cloud, why we are trying to get this data, we actually don't need to be physically present at the location where the data center or the machine is running. We actually use remote access, just like I'm going to be doing in this project. You remote access into the computer and you perform the necessary analysis, the monitoring, the gathering of information, the visualizing of information, visualizing of logs, and everything that you need to get done. These stuffs are all done remotely. And then when we look at cloud forensics and how it helps us to investigate data breaches, it helps us to collect evidence from virtual machines, and it helps us to also respond to insider threats. So those are like some of the how cloud forensics helps. So when we look at the key tool we're going to be using for this project, we are going to be working with Azure PowerShell. Azure PowerShell is a powerful scripting environment to manage Azure resources, and that is exactly what we are going to be using for this project. So the benefit is automated evidence collection. We are looking at a scripted snapshot creation, and we're going to be exporting digs for analysis where we can use tools like autopsy to kind of like analyze that digs and see exactly what went on, or maybe what the malicious guy or maybe the person that messed up the data was trying to do. Then when you talk about Azure Cloud Shell setup, we're going to be navigating to this link here, which is the Azure portal. I'm going to copy it. I believe I already have it opened in my Microsoft Edge. So I'm going to spin up Microsoft Edge. So I'm going to put this side to side so that way we can see both and see exactly what is going on. So the Azure portal is already here. Here's a link. I can click on this to sign in. I've already signed into it prior, so I believe it might just sign me in or maybe just request for. Yes, so it kind of like signed me in already. Then we're gonna look for the cloud shell or the cloud CLI, which is where we're gonna be running our Azure PowerShell. I'm already integrated into Azure PowerShell. I believe if I click on it, it's gonna take me straight to um, the Azure PowerShell environment. So I click on that, and like I said, it's taking me straight to the Azure PowerShell environment. Okay, so I'm gonna be connecting to my AZ account, which is my Azure account, and I'm gonna be using device authentication. So I'm gonna copy that, paste it here. So it gives me a link to copy. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy that link. I'm just gonna click on it and it should open up a new browser. And there was a code within that link, so I'm gonna go back to this tab and copy that code, which is right here. So these are things that you want to keep secure, but for this purpose, I'm gonna be killing this shell once I'm done, so I'm not worried about it. But in a production environment, you want to be careful and not expose informations and secrets like this. So I'm gonna click on this. I'm gonna click yes, and it's gonna authenticate. So now I am authenticated. I can go ahead and close this window. Then we go to the next slide. So in the next slide, we are going to kind of like review and see what resource we have already and see which one we are going to be scraping or creating a snapshot of. So copy that. I'm going to paste it here. It's pasted, so it tells me the name of my virtual machine, which is a virtual machine that I had for a previous project I did for Costco for 350. And here's my resource group. So this is the name of my resource group, Windows Security Group. That is a resource group that I have created earlier. So in this video, in this project, I'm not going into details on how to manage the cloud, since we are focusing more on the forensic side of things. Um, then this is going to be used to create a snapshot. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to come here. I'm going to paste it. So this is the command to create the snapshot. Okay. So we now have it created. So you can see right here. These are the details. So within the snapshot, it created a snapshot of the resource group managed by Microsoft Azure Management Compute Models. The time card, this is the time card. This is the OS type is Windows. The Hyper-V generation is V2, and all those details, the disk size, the disk byte, the unique ID, everything. These are very important information that you want to keep secret in terms of when you're performing forensic analysis. You don't want to expose this information. But like I said, for this project, I'm going to be killing this VM once I'm done. So um, that is one thing you want to keep in mind, so you don't get yourself into a situation whereby you are acting out of the law. So you want to make sure in when performing forensic analysis, this information are kept secret and only given access to authorized individual. So you can see the provision in state, it's says succeeded, and everything. We have all those good stuff that we need and everything. So we are going to be moving to the next step, which is going to be to create a token. A token is going to grant us access to the snapshot, so that way we can export it and analyze it. So we're going to copy this. I'm going to come here and paste it. Hit enter. We run into an error. Okay. I'm going to analyze this and see exactly what went wrong with it. So I actually have a tool that can analyze and figure out errors for me real quick without me going through it. So I'm going to copy this real quick, put it in that tool. Okay, so I think it was the way the commands were entered and copied from the PowerShell, sorry, the PowerPoint that caused the error. So I'm just gonna redo this, paste it, hit enter. So I think it's currently processing, so you might wanna have a little bit of patience. Then we move to the next slide while that is processing. So we just have to give it some time for it to process and generate that link for us. Then we can go ahead and get that link. So here's the link that it has generated for us. So I can click on this link and actually save that snapshot. So I'm going to click on it and it's downloading. You can see it downloading right here. And I believe it's going to be in my downloads folder. So we just wait for it to download. It's gonna download that snapshot for us. Then we can use to like FTK imager or autopsy to kind of like analyze it and see exactly what has happened within that virtual machine. So this is basically the steps that as a forensic analyst you want to take when you are trying to analyze a virtual machine on the cloud, especially using Microsoft Azure cloud, you know. So it is critical that we kind of like understand these whole steps, understand the key thing is understanding how the cloud operates. Like I said in the beginning, you want to understand that the cloud operates as infrastructure as a cloud, whereby the enterprise provision their operating system, their database, their network, and configure it themselves. Then we have software as a service. Software as a service is a point where the the service provider already package that software for you. They take responsibility of the database, the network, and everything, and they provide you a finished application, like in the case of Microsoft 365. And all you have to do is to, you know, utilize that software to do exactly what you need to do. So I'm gonna go back here and actually copy this link on manually copy this link Control C. Going to take it to Google. Hit enter. Yeah, so this actually is doing exactly what I needed it to do for me. So it's right there. I'm gonna title it OS snapshot. So it's gonna be OS snapshot. I'm gonna save it. So I don't know why. Um, for some reason, Microsoft Edge was acting weird. So I'm just gonna confirm it was actually downloaded. Okay, I think one thing I failed to do was to look for the location which I downloaded that. I'm gonna open this up. Okay, I think let me go to this PC. Okay, this is gonna take a longer time for me, so what I'll do is minimize this, rerun this. Okay, it's actually in the downloads. Okay, was on the downloads. Okay, I'm gonna take this out, spin this back up, go to my downloads. Today. Okay, so yeah, at the um, OS snapshot. I'll find it. Okay, I can't find exactly where that file was saved, so I'm gonna speed up. I'm going to resave the file. ABCD. So I'm just gonna leave it with ABCD this time around. Okay, so here is the file. Okay, so now the next step is going to be to either use FTK Imager or Autopsy to kind of like analyze that file. So this is a link to install Autopsy. I'm going to copy it and go to the browser. Right here on the browser, I paste that link, hit it, click on download, and it's downloaded for me. It's downloaded for me, so I'm gonna click on go here, go to downloads, open it up, and it's opening right here. It's preparing the installation. So that is the tool that we are going to be using to analyze the snapshot that we already created from our Azure virtual. Okay, so we've been able to download Autopsy and spin it up already. But the thing is, the OS snapshot that we actually downloaded takes a very long time to download. So we're just gonna go of through the process of getting it analyzed on Autopsy, but we are not gonna use that exact data because it's actually giving me about let me get the information itself. So it's giving me 8 hours left to install. So There's no way this recording is gonna last up to 8 hours. So I'm just gonna go ahead and X out of it, and that is cancel. I'm gonna minimize this, then I'm gonna open up autopsy. I think I already have it open, so I'm just gonna kick it open and it opens up. So normally to analyze a snapshot, you go to click case, you create a new case, then you decide your case name. So I can say Azure snapshot. It's a single user. And I can click on next. Then I can give it 001. Then I already have my information on here. So it gets all this information. Then in a case, you might want to put a note, but in this case, I'm going to put NA. So this is basically how to use your autopsy. You click on finish. Once it finishes, it start creating a case database for you. So it's gonna create this case database and it's gonna ask you to select actually the folder or directory where you have the snapshot or the VM that you're trying to analyze. Then you can select it and it should analyze it for you. But in this case, I might have to analyze something else or maybe just go through the demo without actually analyzing the actual snapshot that we generated from our Azure portal, just to walk through the steps of getting things analyzed. And these applications actually runs a lot of processes. So if you don't have enough memory or space, it runs pretty slow. So basically, I would say this is really how to analyze it. It's pretty self-explanatory if it actually works. Since the application is running pretty slow, we will just let it to keep running. I think it just came up. Okay, so this is a generated new host name. You want to click on next. Then you want to choose your disk image or VM file, which is a virtual machine file. You can also analyze a local disk. You can analyze a logical file, unallocated page email, and all those good stuff. So let's say you click on next in this case. It's gonna have you choose a folder. I already browsed this one prior, so it automatically picks it up. So you could browse. If that's not the one you're trying to, you have the options of browsing the folder. If that is in your downloads, you want to open your downloads and just choose the folder that has it. Let's say it's this folder. We might choose macOS. Click on open and maybe click on this. Click on open. Okay, so it would want to actually analyze a file within this. So you might want to look for the exact file within the folder. Then you click on open, and it's actually going to analyze that. And let me say, okay, let me use this one that I had prior. Let's see. Okay, we don't have anything like that within it. Let me go here. Let me actually copy this, although it's not going to open because I already terminated the download. But let's say we come back here and we spin it up and we have it here as the file name. Then we'll click on open. It opens up. You can put all this information if it's you have a BitLocker password and all those stuff, hashes and stuff. Then you click on next. Then these are all the stuff it's gonna be looking up. Then you click on next. It actually runs. But in this case, I know it's going to fail because that image was not fully downloaded. So that is basically how to analyze that OS and you know make sure everything. So it sees. So you can view your log and you can click on finish. Finish. View log. Okay, I think it already popped the error. Not yet. Okay, it's still analyzing. So yeah, that is it for that. Let me pull this up. And we are going to be concluding here. Basically, cloud forensic is essential in modern security operations, and Azure PowerShell provides a reliable path to acquire a snapshot. And we could have used automation via Terraform to also enhance repeatability. And we practice to ensure readiness in real world investigation. So like I stated, this is the error that popped up. So incomplete image, error reading file, blah blah blah. So cannot detect it. So there was actually an error on it. So we can close this, click on this. We can now view the log, which is actually this. So that is the log. Click on this, click on finish. See, it's still downloading, but it tells you what it is, unconfirmed host, blah blah blah. So you can decide to save as these. So this is the data source and a couple of other information that you need for your analysis. So this is the end of my project. Thank you all, and I would say bye bye.